Hey, hi, and welcome back. So this is basically the last video of this topic, and in previous video we discussed the procedure to generate the bill of material, and we are going to use that bill of material now to order the components from the different website. Okay, so now let's start with this video, which is about how to order components. So this is basically the bill of material that we saw in the previous video, and we are going to order the components which are actually present in this bill of material now. Okay, now if you see, I have actually opened one website which is called as moser.com. So this is basically very popular website, and this particular website is used by the multinational companies or very big companies which actually deal with the electronics product development. Okay, so you can order the components from this particular website, but at this point in time, as you are getting started, I will not recommend you to order the components from this particular website. Okay, because if you try to order the components from this particular website, then it's going to be very expensive. But if you can afford, then definitely you can go for this particular website, because all the components that you will order from this website, they will be actually dispatched from the USA. So it's obvious that it's going to cost you much compared to rest of the Indian websites. Okay, so I will show you some Indian websites from where you can actually order the components, and most of the parts that you will need for your project, all those parts will be available on those websites. Okay, but whenever you order the component from this particular website, which is moser.com, it's sure that you are going to get the authentic component, because this website has a tie-up with lot of manufacturers all over the world. And whenever you order the component from this particular website, you have 100% surety that the component that will be delivered, it's going to be authentic. Okay, but still, as you are getting started, I will not recommend you to order the component from this particular website. The first point is price. Then the second point is duration of delivery. If you try to order the component from this particular website, then it's going to take almost 15 to 20 days to arrive to the India. Okay, so delay is actually the main reason why you should not order the component from this particular website. Okay, but if you have that much patience, then definitely you can go ahead and you can order the components from this website. Okay, because I have been using this particular website for a long time now, almost 5 to 6 years, and almost every time I order the component from this particular website. But some components, if I want it in in very short duration, then I go for this particular website, which is Sunroom. So this is basically an Indian website, Sunroom, and most of the components that you will need for your project or the product that you will design, most of the components will be actually available on this particular website. But the problem is of authenticity of the component. But at this point in time, it's completely fine. You can order the components from this website. Okay, so now let's look for the components that we have on our bill of material. So the first one is RGB LED. So let's look for this particular component now. So for that, I will go to this products. Then there is actually one option called opto electronics, and later you have to go to LED indication. Okay, and here you will find the RGB LED. So this is basically the RGB LED, and you can also get it from here. So you can see there is actually a filter, so you can look for the RGB LED also from here. So if I select this one and if I click on apply filter, so you can see these are actually the RGB LEDs which are present on this particular website. But we are going to use this one. This RGB LED is of a different type. It's actually going to work on some one wire protocol. So it's completely different. So this RGB LED do not have 3 LEDs independently integrated in the same package. Okay, so it's not of that kind. But this particular LED that we are using, it includes 3 LEDs integrated in the same package. Okay, so you can use or you can order this particular RGB LED, and you can see it's just going to cost you 9 rupees for the single quantity. Okay, that's why this particular website is very useful for the people who are getting started. You can get the component at the cheapest price, and also this particular this company is actually situated in Ahmedabad in India. So the components will be delivered in 3 to 4 days to your location. Okay, so that's basically the advantage of ordering the components from this particular website. So that's the RGB LED. Now let's look for another component. So this one is male header. So I will write header here directly from here. You can search. So I will search for header here, and this is basically the component that we are looking for, header strip. Okay. So while ordering the component, you will also get the names of the component and how exactly you will also get to know how exactly they look like. Okay. So in this filter option, you can see that the header is actually available in different pitch. So pitch is actually the distance between the two legs of the header. So I will just open one of the header. So you can see in this header, there are legs of this header. So the distance between the two legs is actually called as pitch. And the header that we are using, the pitch of that particular header is 2.54 mm. And this is basically the same pitch which is there in the breadboard. Okay. So that's basically the standard pitch we can call. So I will select 2.54 mm, and later we need a male header. So I will select that one, and after that I will click on apply filter. And again, I just need I need a 40x2 because we want the headers to be side by side. We don't want the single strip. So I will select this option, and after that I will click on apply filter. And later this is basically the header that we are looking for, because the another one was SMD header. So I'm going to select this one, and later you can order this one. Now the next component is capacitor, so whose value is 0.1 microfarad. Now in order to get the capacitor, you have to go to this particular location, passive components, and later you can see capacitor SMD MLCC. So from here you can select the capacitor. So we need a 0.1 microfarad capacitor. So let's look for the 0.1 microfarad capacitor. So 0.1 microfarad is not there. 0.1 microfarad also means 100 nanofarad. So I will select this option, and later we need a capacitor with a package of 0603. So I will select this option, and after that I will click on apply filter. So that's basically the capacitor with 0603 package, 100 nanofarad value and 50 volt rating. Then X7R is actually the dielectric of the capacitor, and MLCC, which stands for multi-layer ceramic chip capacitor. Okay. And here if you see, the minimum order quantity is actually 100, and each capacitor is going to cost you 0.9. So you have to order the 100 quantity for 90 rupees. Okay. So it's like that. It's fine. You can stock them, and later you can use for your rest of the projects. Okay. So that was actually the procedure to find the capacitor. Then the next component is resistor. So again, you have to go to products, then passive components. Then here you will find resistor. So we are actually looking for a resistor with a 0 ohms. So this is basically the 0 ohms resistor, and we need a resistor with a package of 0603. So I will apply the filter, and that's basically the resistor with a 0 ohms value, and the price of the resistor is 0.4 paisa. So you can get this particular resistor with 100 quantity. Okay, which it will cost you 40 rupees. Okay. Then the next one is 100 microfarad capacitor, and this time it's actually the through hole capacitor. So to get the through hole capacitor, you have to go to passive components and capacitor through hole. So as I told you, most of the components that you need for your basic projects will be available on this particular website. Okay. So 100 microfarad. So this one is 100 microfarad. And later we need a capacitor with a voltage rating of 25 volt. Why 25 volt? The reason is this capacitor will be connected on the input side of the 7805 IC, and the maximum voltage that we are using to power our system, it's basically 12 volt. So you can simply multiply 12 by 2 and that gives us a value of 24 volt. So you can select a capacitor with a 25 volt, or you should actually select a capacitor with the voltage rating greater than greater than the applied voltage or the power supply voltage, okay, or the operating voltage. Now in our case, as it is 12 volt, so you can select a capacitor also with a 16 volt, but 16 volt will be more close to the 12 volt. So that's why you should go for 25, 35. You can select any of the voltage rating, okay. But point is, if you go for the higher voltage, then the price of that particular capacitor will increase, okay. So I'm just going to select 25 volt, and later I will apply a filter, and this is basically the capacitor. So actually the capacitor that I am using in our design, that capacitor, the diameter of that particular capacitor is different because I purchased it from the local shop. but you can use this particular capacitor also. You just make sure that you check the diameter of the capacitor, and accordingly you can use the appropriate footprint in your design. Okay, so that's basically the 100 microfarad capacitor. So we are done with the capacitor. Then you know the procedure to get the resistor. Then we are done with the 10 microfarad capacitor. Then let's look for the crystal. So for crystal, I will directly search here, and after that I will click on enter. So you can see all these crystals are available. So I will select this particular option, and from here I get the opportunity to select a 16 megahertz crystal. So I will select this one, and later after that I will click on apply filter. So this is basically the through hole crystal of 16 megahertz value. Now we need a diode with SS 1 ampere rating, 40 volt, SS14. So straight away I will search for SS14 here, and this particular diode is actually very popular. So I'm just going to select this one, and this is how basically the SS14 diode look like. And if you want to use a diode with 1 ampere rating with 40 volt, then this is actually the through hole equivalent of this particular part. If you want to use a through hole variant of this particular part, then 1N5819 is actually the part number. Okay, you can use this particular diode also. It's just that it's going to take more space on the PCB. Okay, so we are done with the diode, resistor, capacitor. Then we also saw resistor. Then let's look for the 7805 IC. So straight away I will search 7805 here, and later this is basically the 7805 IC, and that's how 7805 IC look like. And you can see the package is TO252. Okay, you have to make sure the package is correct. Okay, and we are done with the 7805 IC. Then let's look for the Atmega 328 microcontroller. So I think this microcontroller is not available on this website. So Atmega 328 is not available. So I will just erase a few letters here. Let's see whether it's showing. This is available. This is actually the Arduino Nano board, but we don't need Arduino Nano. We need this Atmega 328 microcontroller. So this particular controller is actually not available on this website. So what you can do, you can search for Atmega 328 price on the Google, and later you will see the different manufacturers which are actually selling this particular controller. Okay, so Electronic Component is actually selling this Atmega 328 IC. So straight away you can order this IC from this manufacturer. But at this point in time, if you see, the price of this particular controller is very high. Okay, it's $649, and this is all because of the shortage in the semiconductor industry. Otherwise, this particular controller, most of the time you will get it for 200 or less than that. Okay, so this controller is actually not that expensive, but at this point in time, as there is a shortage, so that's the reason these sellers are actually selling it for the higher price. Okay, so if you want to create the same design that we are doing in this training, you can also do that using a through hole variant. Okay, so you can purchase the through hole variant of Atmega 328, and you can design the PCB based on the through hole variant. Okay, so these are actually some good websites like Electronics Component, then robo.in. I have been ordering the components from these all websites. Okay, so Electronics Component is there, then robo.in is there, eVelta is there. Okay, then Tanotis is there. So from these websites you can actually order the component. Okay, but primarily I will suggest you to order the component from this particular website. Okay, then let's look for this part which is CD4511B. I think again this particular part is not available here, and yes, it is not available. So again you can do the same thing. You just write, you just paste that part here, and later you can search for the price for that particular part, and later different websites will appear, and you can order the component from one of the website. Okay, make sure that the website is Indian, otherwise it will take unnecessary it will take a lot of time to deliver that particular website component. So eVelta is one of them. RoboCraze is also a good website. From here you can actually order this particular IC. Then the next one is a DC power jack. So I will go to Sunroom, and let's look for the DC power jack, and this is basically the DC power jack, and I will select this option, And later you can see there are actually multiple DC power jack, and we actually going to use this one. Okay, so you can get this DC power jack. All right. Then the next one is L293D. So I'm not sure whether this particular IC is available here or not. So let's look for this IC and search. Alright, so again it's not available. So again in this case you can search for L293D IC like this and later enter. And so again it's available on this website, electronics components, and it's also available on robo.in. And there are a few more websites, so RoboCraze. So from here you can actually order this particular IC. Then the next component is LTW. This is actually the LED with red color. So you will get the LED from this website. So you have to go to optoelectronics, then LED indication, and let's look for the red LED with the package of 0603 and later apply filter. So that's basically the red LED, and price is 1 rupees, but the minimum order quantity is actually 100. Okay, so you will have to pay the 100 rupees for the single LED. So that's actually one disadvantage of this particular website, but no problem, you can stock and you can use for other projects, okay, or your future projects. Then the next two components are the motors. We are going to use the motors. We have used the motor driver IC. We are going to connect the motors externally to the connectors, and we are going to test that section. So for that we need motors, and so I will write here geared motors, because the geared motors are actually not available on Sunroom. So let's search outside, and plastic, I will write plastic geared motor we are using. And so these are basically the geared motors that we are using. So you can order one of, are we actually using two? So whatever quantity you want, you can order from these websites. Okay, it's also available on Robu. It's available on electronics components. It's available on it's available on alright, so you can order it from Robu or electronics components. Then the next is potentiometer or trim pot. So it's available on this website. So let's search for the preset here. I told you it is called as preset, so I'm going to search for preset, and this is basically the part that we are looking for. So I will this is actually the 100k pot, so I will go to variable resistor, and later we are looking for 10k preset, so I will select this one, and after that apply filter, and later we are looking for this kind of preset. So that's the preset, and you can get this one. Then the next one is a 7-segment display. So let's select 7. Let's look for 7-segment display now, and 7 and enter. So this is basically the 7-segment display, but you make sure that the 7-segment display that you are ordering, it should be common cathode. Okay, it should not be common anode. Okay, so this one is actually common anode, you can see. So all the anode terminals will be connected together. In our case, we are actually connecting all the cathode terminals of the 7-segment this display to the ground. So we need to use this one, okay, in our design. Okay, because the driver IC CD4511BE, this particular driver IC is actually made for this 7-segment display with common cathode. If you use a 7-segment display with common anode, then you will have to use the different driver IC. Okay, so you can search for the part number of that particular driver IC, and later you can use it in your design. Okay, and then we are looking for the switch. So let's look for the switch. So switches, and later we are looking for SMD switches, and later this is basically the switch which we are using. So you can get this particular switch. Okay, and the price is 5 rupees for the one quantity. Okay, alright, so that was all about the procedure to order the components, and I hope that every single thing that we discussed is now clear to you. So you order the components from this particular website, and if the component is not available on this Sunroom website, then you can look for, you can Google search that particular component, and you can write just price in front of that, and later you will get all the Indian distributors for that particular component. Okay, so you can use that method. And at this point in time, I will not recommend you to use this particular website, because when you order the components from this particular website, as I told you, the price is going to be higher. Along with that, it's going to take you 10 to 15 days, and along with that, you have to pay the extra custom duty on that, okay, because we are importing the components from the USA. So that's the reason at this moment I will not recommend you to use this particular website. But in case if you are dealing with a project where you are using a very rare component and that particular component is not available in India, then you are actually biased to use this particular website. So in that case, you will have to spend the money, you will have to wait for 10-15 days and you can order the component. Okay, so this is actually the reason which makes the hardware development process slow. Okay, most of the time I am actually dependent on this particular website because the components that I use at this point in time, they are actually not available in India. So I have to use this moser.com anyhow, to get the components. Okay, so I will recommend you don't use this website at this moment. But once you advance in this, or once you get little mature in the electronics and the hardware development process, later you can order or start ordering the components from this website. But as you are getting started and as if you are a student, then I will not recommend this particular website. Okay. Alright, so that's what I wanted to tell in this video. I hope that every single thing that we discussed related to components ordering process in this video is now clear to you. And now I will see you in the next topic, which is about component soldering. Okay. So I will see you in the next video now.